It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Conversations with Joan. Conversations with Joan will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life's Conversations with Joan. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Conversations with Joan focuses on topics that are important to your life, from health and wellness to professional development to personal well-being. Change makers join me to share their insights, tips, and strategies so you can thrive and live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. Now, let's start talking. Today's business is demanding a new set of skills. More than ever, people are looking to engage deeply with their work and align with companies that support their values. Today's guest, Sibyl Chavis, believes that in order to succeed in this new environment, we must focus on inner skills such as presence, mindfulness, and empathy. She is here today to talk about the importance of being authentic and bringing our unique expression to work. Sibyl is the Chief Business Officer of Sounds True Publishing. Welcome, Sibyl. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So, Sibyl, I want to start off by talking about your journey. You're an attorney who decided to make a major change in the direction of your life. So, what is it that happened to you that put you on a new path?
I think it was a culmination of a lot of things. Just life, going through life and trying to align with answering that question, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And I had thought I had known that since I was 7 years old. I wanted to be an attorney and had devoted my whole life and worked so hard to get there. And then when I got into my first law firm experience, I was like, that's interesting. That's not what I was expecting. And then I was like, okay, pivot. Maybe I need to change and apply my legal skills in a different fashion. So I went and worked in-house at a advertising agency. And again, I think all of the experiences had their advantages, and I learned so much, but I still just felt like there was something missing.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another, and just did a lot of reflection and a lot of, oh my goodness, am I really going to do this? And I took the leap of faith and quit my job to pursue a life that I felt was more aligned with my purpose, and still being able to really take advantage of all the things I had learned from law and business, but be a part of like the spiritual industry or inner skills and development. Personal growth was more aligned with the topics and areas I was passionate about.
A lot of people have those moments in their life during their career when they're doing something that may not be fulfilling them and they want to make a change, but they're afraid to do so because it could mean uprooting everything. So how did you know you were making the right decision?
It's interesting because when the time came for me to actually quit my job, it was after a long period of going back and forth. Am I really going to quit my job? This is crazy. Like, who quits their job?
Mm-hmm.
I've done everything that I was supposed to do to get here. And at the time too, interestingly enough, my husband was having the same doubts, and he was also an attorney. And we were like, we have kids, responsibilities, bills. Like, are we really going to do this? Is this the right decision? And I can't say that I felt 100% confident that, okay, now's the time, let's do it. But I was very confident that it was the right decision, because I just knew that if I ever was going to have that feeling of fulfillment, I was going to have to change things up.
Yeah, because I'm not sure it's ever really the right time to do anything. I'm not sure what the right time looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in my life, the work that I'm doing now, this was the result of a complete reinvention in my 40s. I had been working prior to having my family, and then I chose to become a stay-at-home mom. And in those 17 years, I really lost who I was. And I had gotten to a point where I said to myself, if I don't make some changes, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find myself again. There was so much of me gone. And so I had this idea. You talk about crazy ideas. It was to start a radio show. And as I was doing all of this in one weekend, my mom had a stroke and my sister was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. And so in the following year, my mom died, my sister died. My husband didn't like the changes I was making in my life, so our marriage broke up. And the interesting thing is, as you were saying, you make these changes and you don't know where you're heading, and you can let fear stop you from ever moving forward. But what I have found, and it wasn't easy, and I'm sure you can attest to that, none of this is easy, but I have found that sometimes the best results come from a redirection.
Absolutely. And I think what you touched on specifically in terms of understanding it's okay if you have fear, and most likely you're going to. At least for me, those times in my life where I have had things that just felt so right deep down,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of them was having to take a risk and fear and doubts.
Right.
And so just being able to say, it's okay. I can I can move through this. I can take steps forward. And step by step, the fear will melt away and I'll make more and more progress and get to where I really feel like I'm supposed to be.
You mentioned that you were searching for something that was a little bit more spiritually oriented. Is that how you landed at Sounds True?
You know, I think I was really searching from a career standpoint for something that just felt like it was going to have more social impact in the
Mm-hmm.
world, personal impact, and I just wanted to find something that I could still do business and legal and bring all of the skills and things that I was interested in, but in a different arena, a different area. And so personally, my own journey has been informed by my spiritual journey. And so I was reading a lot of authors like Eckhart Tolle and Pamela Chodron and Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach. And all of those authors were authors that sounds true.
Mm-hmm.
I was a client before I always make the joke I was a customer before I worked at Sounds True, and one thing led to another, and I was on Sounds True site, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's an interesting opportunity. Maybe that would I actually do that? Move to because Sounds True is in Colorado at the time I was living, and I continue to live actually right now in Southern California. But I was just like, what can it hurt? I'll just send in my information, and the stars aligned.
And it's the best job because you're doing something that you are passionate about. And like I said, some
Hmm.
of the best outcomes come from redirection.
Absolutely. I mean, what you said is really something that took a while to settle in for me, that a lot of times you do have to redirect and take those chances and pivot. But to your point, when you feel those times in your life and those moments arise and it just feels right at your core and in your gut, then you're supposed to pivot. You're supposed to take those chances.
Business today, it's demanding a new set of skills, as I said in the introduction, and people are looking at it differently. In the time that you've been working in a corporate environment, what types of changes have you seen in the way we conduct business?
Well, it's interesting because I think it would probably, the answer be informed by the specific business and company and the way that certain companies are going about it. So I came from a very traditional experience at a law firm. It's about as traditional as you can get in the
Right,
business world.
right.
And then going to an advertising agency and working with some clients that are larger clients, big brands, automotive brands, telecommunication brands. I really got to dive in and have that experience and see the way that they went about business, and to come to Sounds True and see a totally different approach that, because of just what we do by nature, is about personal growth and helping people with the products. It's just a amazingly different perspective, and the areas that we're focused on, the programs that we're focused on bringing to life, the way we go about business, and ensuring that we're living inside the walls of Sounds True, the programs and the teachings, and are consistent with what we're sharing with the world,
Mm-hmm.
for me has been the biggest difference in terms of experience with my prior career and what I get to do now at Sounds True.
Words like presence, mindfulness, empathy, they're not usually synonymous with business. So, how do those things, presence, mindfulness, empathy, how do they factor into business success?
Well, it's interesting because, as you mentioned, in so many business environments, they're not a part of it. And what I've come to understand after being It Sounds True is so many of the moments that happen to us through the day, whether it's writing an email, really connecting with other employees, sitting in a conference room and coming up with the best ideas, all of those are moments for presence and mindfulness and true, authentic connection, and understanding like that you have an opportunity to take advantage of that in each moment
Mm-hmm.
and align with that, and that there's certain practices and ways to get better and better and to build these capacities, these inner skills, has been one of my biggest realizations in life. And then to be able to really deepen into what that means in the teachings and have an experience at work where you're continually practicing, I'm like, oh, this is kind of the point of it.
Right,
Like
right.
you spend so much time at work, 80% of your time or 70% of your time with the people that you're working with. If you think about it on any given day, this is the best place to practice, to be real, to show up with those capacities that we're supposed to grow and deepen into over our lifetime.
Do you think we're doing a good job training our employees and our future leaders?
I think certain companies most, definitely are. One of the partners that we work with on a program, the Inner MBA, LinkedIn, definitely has invested a lot of time in terms of training and mindfulness and compassion. And actually, the head of mindfulness and compassion is a part of the Inner MBA program, which is where I have seen the most training happen with corporations coming into that program to participate with us, from like Google and Verizon Media, and to see them all really embracing the skills and the curriculum that's taught in that program and see them then take that back to their corporate environments.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a wave going on. We call it conscious business rising. And I do think that, in addition to our programs in our MBA, there are corporations and other programs and people that really are invested in this different way of doing business.
So you just mentioned an Inner MBA program, and Sounds True has one. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and how can our listeners get involved?
Sure. The Inner MBA is a program that we began in Sounds True last year, and that was our inaugural program. And it's in partnership with LinkedIn, and we also are in partnership with Mindful NYU, which is a division of NYU. And at the end of the 9-month program, students come in for 9 months, they receive a certificate from NYU. And what's really cool about the program is it really is focused on, your inner skills and holistic growth. And we were able to integrate leaders, like the top CEO leaders, business trainers, neuroscientists, and the wisdom teachers, the spiritual teachers, all to come together and teach a class of students how you actually bring these skills and these capacities to your work environment, grow personally, grow your career, grow your company. And that's what the Inner MBA has been doing. And it's been a really cool program to see the students connect. They also have the ability to go into groups of 8 during the time of the program. So to see all of the networking and the connecting in those small groups as people are going through the curriculum has been also, I think, a really big advantage for folks. And to just go through those different learning experiences from business to inner to spiritual makes it a really holistic program.
It sounds like an amazing program, and if our listeners would like to get more information, you can visit innermba.soundstrue.com. And so, Sibyl, in our final moments, we talked about how you and your husband both made major changes in your life, and it sounds like it turned out pretty good for you. So tell us about your husband.
Mm-hmm.
How is he doing? Did it work out as well?
Yes. So my husband, he wanted to be a TV and film writer. And that is how we got to Southern California because at the time we were living in the Midwest in Michigan, and there's not nearly as much TV and film writing going on there. So we relocated here, and, you know, it was definitely his tenacity and just taking steps forward and really saying, okay, I want to break into the entertainment industry and I want to write, and I love the craft of writing and making stories come alive. And he currently works on an ABC show called Blackish. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, for me to sit and watch him build his career again and start at the bottom and just, you know, step by step and day by day with just hard work build it has been inspiring myself to watch. And just confirmation, you know, that I feel speaks to what you were saying earlier. Sometimes you're meant to take those changes, you know, to go after them, to take those pivots. And no matter how much fear you have, or even if you're like, is this absolutely the right time? It's really leaning into that inner knowingness that we have and being willing to go for it.
Absolutely. Like I've been saying, sometimes the best outcomes come from a redirection. Sibyl, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your story and for sharing the insight that you've gained over the years. I think, you know, what you've told us today has the ability to impact so many lives. So I thank you for being here and for sharing.
Thank you so much, Joan. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided is the opinion of our guest and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, sign up for our mailing list, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.